Hello everyone, my name is Sylvia Hooper, founder and assistant director of FPA Foundation, short for Fostering Progressive Advocacy. We are at the 2015 Left Forum here at John Jay College, and our panel today will be discussing child welfare and community organizing and the impact on the child welfare system. So we have a group of parents as well as foster parents that will discuss how they have been affected by the child welfare system, their experience in community organizing, how the impact and the importance of advocacy has affected their lives today. So today we have on our panel, we have Cynthia East to our far right, a parent that's been affected by ACS and the foster care system. We have Beverly Jordan, we have Mr. John Lance, we have Ms. Tamika Willis, and right here closest to me is Ms. Angel McMillan. And so we will start first with our question directed to our parents on the panelists. So our first question is, as a parent affected by the child welfare system, do you personally feel comfortable talking to ACS and why? So Angel, if we can start with you.
Yes, I do feel, personally, yes, I do feel comfortable speaking to ACS because as a parent being affected by the system, I believe that our voices should be heard and our families should be taken seriously when it comes down to the best interests of our children. I believe that us as parents to be given the opportunity to be reunited with our children.
Yes, so as far as talking to ACS, I think that our amendment rights should be taken into account. I do not want to talk to ACS anymore because I think that ACS really does violate your rights. I do think that anything they write down is going to go against you. And so as far as I am concerned, I think anytime that I talk to an ACS person, I will have to have an attorney with my minor and with me myself. So I didn't know that before, and I wish I would have taken that advice long ago, but I did not know that. So that's why I joined FPA to research why that a lot of African Americans are affected by ACS in this with the parents in this genre. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
And Ms. East, wouldn't you say this is why it's important for parents to know their rights?
To know their rights. This is very essential to even become a member with FPA so that you can know your rights. You can know what your amendments are, what your Bill of Rights are. That you do have to have an attorney that you can say, okay, is this the proper way to answer ACS? Because ACS is not. They're not your friend.
Thank you. Okay, so this question is for everyone on the panel because I think this is relevant to everyone in their experience with either ACS or the foster care agencies. So did any of you feel that you received the supportive services that you needed from either ACS or the foster care agency, the contracted child welfare agency in charge of either yourself or the child that's in foster care?
Can I answer? I don't feel that I've gotten a lot of support from the case planners, which are supposed to be acting in the best interest of the children that's in foster care. A lot of things, a lot of services that needed to be in place for the child when I see that there were certain issues that my children were dealing with, and I had to figure out the best way to be able to help them as their foster parent and also helping the child. A lot of things that I will address to them as a child being in my home that I would see that they're dealing with a lot of serious issues. When I will come to them and say, I need this in place for my child, it's like they don't understand what I'm asking, what I need them to do for my children, which they do understand. They're being lazy, they don't want to provide the proper services, and it's like every time when I need something for them, I have to go through calling a meeting and going over their heads into the directors and the supervisors. This is their job. You know all the services that these kids need. Why do I have to go over and beyond to be able to fight against you just to get the proper services in place for my child. I don't feel that they act in the best interest of the child or in the best interest as in working with me as a foster parent. And this is something that we're supposed to be doing for the children, as in working together in the best interest of the child. And I have not received those services. The only time I receive them is when I go over and beyond for my children. And when I do that, it causes me to be a problem person to the agency, that I have to always look like I'm that person because I have to advocate and cause certain meetings to take place so that my children can have all that they need and for the care as they are in my home and me servicing them.
Thank you, Ms. Rose.
You're welcome.
I think to some degree, the foster care agency worked well with me. I find that whenever I reach out to them, or, they answer the questions I have, they point me in the direction I need to go. So I will have to say, yes, I receive adequate help from the foster care agency.
Although in my situation, I believe I received adequate help from the foster care agency for my situation. The ACS worker was the one that was manipulating and conniving and made false allegations against me. And so my particular agency had my support, but once I became an FPA member and advocate, I started going to hearings, and I dealt with the same situation with agencies violating the rules and taking people's removing children from their home for inadequate reasons and so forth. So I got experience on both sides, but my particular agency was there for me. ACS worker completely lied, false allegations, made lies against me, working with the birth parents that had the same allegations against them, and she didn't do any type of investigative work to find out about the false allegations. But once I came to FPA and I became an advocate, and I started going to hearings, defending foster parents with false allegations from agencies and ACS, then I got the chance to see both sides. So we do need reform. We do need people to step in and have an oversight hearings on the supervision of these caseworkers for the agencies, caseworkers for the ACS, their supervisors, because they have to sign off on what these people are saying. So we do need help in those areas.
I just would like to say that ACS and the foster care agencies, as a parent, I have been manipulated. I have been taken advantage. I have been taken for granted when it comes down to my family while being in the foster care agencies, and my children have not been safe. My children were removed several times, and my children, 2 of my children have been in the foster care for 6 years now. And 1 of my children has been in foster care in a different agency for 3 years. So I have 3 children that are in foster care, and all 3 of my children are separated, and while being in the care of the agencies, they're not safe. I can witness to that because I have seen and I've witnessed the behavior of the foster parents that took care of my children. And when it came down to me bringing it to ACS attention, the agency inappropriately approached the caseworker at the agency, and the caseworker, thinking that the ACS was me, the parent, the caseworker inappropriately spoke to her, and she said, "Listen, I'm not Miss McMillan. You're not going to speak to me like that. Now you give me the name of your supervisor." And then that's when the foster care caseworker changed the tone of her voice, and then that's when she gave her the manner of respect. And then that's whatever question she had, the ACS had, the foster care caseworker gave the information. As a parent, my children are not safe in ACS care and the foster care agency, and I don't think it's fair to me that I be not treated equally, even though I may have a disability. I don't think it's fair to me that I'm taking advantage. I don't think it's fair to me that my children, 2 of my children, are given drugs, diagnosed falsely, and when it comes down to my family, they're not we're not safe. This is the United States of America, freedom of speech, freedom of own free will, etc. As a parent and as a black woman, I don't think it's fair to me that I have to go through this struggle by myself, and my family has to be in danger of the care of ACS. I believe that there should be justice, and becoming a member of FPA, I know for a fact that there is going to be justice, because we're not going to give up no matter what challenges may come our way. I believe I give up all hope and faith to this organization, because I witnessed how much effort they put into helping us as parents affected by ACS and the agencies.
Okay. Thank you, Angel. Thank you. So the next question is for our 3 foster parents, and you guys happen to be right in the middle. So first, it's a 2-part question. What made you want to become a foster parent? And what would you say are the challenges in being a foster parent, if you had to recommend anyone or just explain to them what the role of a foster parent is? Who would like to tackle that one first? Excuse me.
I guess I'll go. I became a foster parent through kinship. I'm a kinship foster parent, meaning that the kids that I have in my home are related to me. They're my grandkids. And at the time, the child was with the mom, but the mom, she has issues which force ACS and other agencies to step in to take the child away from her. I volunteered to take the child because I didn't want the child to be in any other home. Mm-hmm. My son lived with me. He wanted his son as well. So we took the baby in. The mom had a second child, and the child automatically came to me. So with that, I would encourage anyone, not just kinship, but if you can help a child, help a child. It's for the child, it's not the adult. And if you have it in you to share that much, open your home to someone, it's a good thing. The only thing I have problems with is when you're in need of help. Things happen time to time. At the blink of an eye, the kids were removed from my home because my son acted inappropriately by taking the kids to visit the mother without supervision. With that, someone from the mother's home called ACS, and the kids were taken.
Oh, wow.
It's 1.5 years. I'm still fighting to get them. So I hope that I'll be able to get them soon. I hired a lawyer. The lawyer, at some point, she failed me. So I went back to the foster care agency to do some classes to kind of reinvent myself, mm-hmm. to get the kids back. And I learned that there's a record for me in the ACS system. So if you were to put my name in the system, it comes up that I'm an abuser.
Oh, my God.
So with that, the foster care agency introduced me to FPA. And I came to Ms. Matthews, and she's been at my side since. It's a wonderful thing. I wish if I had known about this foundation from the start. Mm-hmm. And so we're working together now to clear that up. And hopefully it'll happen soon. Thank you, FPA.
Thank you.
Hi, I started taking care of children for my mom. My mom adopted a little girl. She was 2 years old. Little sister, adopted sister. And as she got older, she became more of a problem because she was ADHD. She was on medication. And my mom wasn't really properly trained to deal with children with disabilities and so forth. So once she got 7 years old, my mother said, like, I can't take her. And I was like, no, Mom. So I took her myself from 7 years old all the way until she got grown. And in the meantime, I had kinship. One of my sister's children got taken from her. I took them too, so I had a house full. I had like 4 kids at the time.
Oh my goodness.
And then eventually she got her children back. and the agency recognized that, hey, this guy's pretty good. So eventually, as the years went on, I've been a foster parent for like 13 years. I've had 37 children, families of 4 and 5, all nationalities, Spanish, Mexican, Italian, African, you know what I'm saying? And I was a great help with the agency. I helped recruit foster parents as well. I recruited like 4 or 5 foster parents as well, so I had to teach them a lot of the rules and regulations of ACS, rules and regulations of the agency, what's required by the agency, what's required of you by the agency, what you have to do to take care of these children, you know, from distributing medication, visitation, appointments, you know what I'm saying, and just following the rules and being a parent and showing a lot of love, giving the kids a hug and letting them, that stuff that they're missing in their lives is a hug and so forth. But I went a long way with it, you know what I'm saying, before I caught a false allegation case, you know, with a boy that I adopted. I adopted a boy, you know, and he was 12 years old, 13 years old. He still communicated with his family, and his family was still teaching him all the negative ways, beating him in the head with hammers, and made false allegations against me. But I'm back at it again. But I have a lot of respect for foster parents that's helping children, keeping families together. That's what this is about, reuniting children with parents. You know, we have parents here that need their children back. My job is, I hold you down, I'll take care of your children until you get yourself together and give the kids back. Give the children back. You know, so we do need a big oversight. But since I've been with FPA, I've gotten even stronger at supporting these foster parents and supporting these birth parents and making sure ACS rules and laws, OCS rules are being followed.
Ms. Willis?
I became a foster parent. I love children, and unfortunately I only had one. And so I've always, as in taking care of my son and being a single parent, I've always said that I wanted to help other children even though I only had one child. So, you know, I worked a lot of hours, and I wasn't able to do it. So when I went out and ended up getting hurt on the job, I said, okay, now is the opportunity that I have now to be able to be a help and to help another child who is in need. I enjoy taking care of kids, you know, and I think that children today need structure, you know, and I feel that this is why we have a lot of kids that are out in the street and, you know, doing drugs and getting locked up because they have parents that didn't have the proper upbringing and knowing how to raise children. And so I wanted to be a person to make a difference in someone's life, you know, even if it's not for a long period of time, but whatever time that I am allowed to be able to have that child, I want to be able to make a difference where whatever situation that that child may be going through or that parent at the time, to try to make that load a little lighter for that child until it's time for that child to go back home to his parent. So that's why I became a foster parent. I'm all about giving back and doing something good to be a help to someone else.
Great, thank you. And since we have both perspectives here, both parents as well as foster parents representing both ends of the spectrum, I want you guys to speak to the dynamic of really having a collaborative relationship between both the foster parent and the parent. Do you think that that's an ideal situation? Do you think that that's something that works? Do you think that that's something that can really be a betterment for the children that are involved, for both the parent and the foster parent to have these two individuals working hand in hand to really make sure that that child that's in this situation, that didn't ask to be in this situation, can progress and be as successful as they can be? So whomever wants to tackle that particular question.
I think that it's important for the birth parent and the foster parent to connect with each other so that the child still has a relationship with their parent, and also it helps us to keep them informed of what's going on in the progress of their child, what's going on in their lives, and different things like that, and how could we work together to improve this child and making this child better. I think that's important, but then you have sometimes some situations where there's some birth parents that aren't in the right place, in the right frame of mind. They're dealing with a lot of tough issues and situations that they're still trying to deal with their own demons, and is not a positive role model for that child. So if you have a parent that has a real serious situation of a habit and was not acting in the best interest of the child from the beginning of why the child ended up in foster care, I think it's kind of difficult to have a relationship with that birth parent if they're not in a right state of mind. So it kind of makes things a little difficult on the behalf of the child and also the foster parent as well. So at some point it's good, and then in some situations it could be a little bad. But you just pray and hope for the best, and hope that the child that you receive, that you could form and have a bond with that birth parent, you know. So it depends. It really depends on what the situation is, what's the reason of why that child is in foster care, and it's up to that parent, that individual, because everybody is not the same.
Right.
And that's what it is.
I have a different perspective on that.
Yeah, I do too.
And that's great that I'm loving to work with foster parents who do want to reunite their child with the parents, you know, in this particular panel. But a lot of times when some of the foster parents, they want that child, and if they have that child, they say, well, I'm raising this child better than that parent.
Yeah.
And I raised my half brother for 8 years, and when he came to New York, I think that the freedom of New York, I think he just went kind of buck wild. He was just like, you know, everything was just so new to him, and he didn't care about anything, and they said he was ADHD or ADD, and that was not, or ODD, and that was not the case. He didn't need medication from before. He didn't need any of that before. And I tried to work with the foster care the foster care agency. I tried to work with the foster parent. The foster parent said, well, I have other children here that he can play with, and he doesn't have anybody to play with at your house. And that's what he wants. And I was like, I'm sorry. He needs to get his homework and things like that. And they did not give me any help as far as when he knocked me down. I had a stroke, and they took him out of my house. Mm-hmm. And and I think that ACS and the foster care agency, I think that's really something that you're going through these ailments that you have, and then here we are. I took care of this child for 8 years, and now he's somewhere else. Mm. I didn't get to visit him, nothing. And I think that ACS, I think they need to, I think we need to reform ACS as far as the situation. Like you said, each person's situation is different. And I don't want anybody in my house ever again. And with FPA Foundation, that's what I found out, that I didn't have to let them in. I didn't have to let them in, and I would not do it again.
You know something? I understand where both of y'all are coming from. Dealing with these parents, as a foster parent, and you're dealing with your caseworker, you're dealing with the parent. They see you have their child, you know what I'm saying, and they're hoping that you're taking care of their child the way they have, but then again, at the same time, they may have deficiencies, which is part of the reason why their children got taken away, and then they might have some type of jealousy against that foster parent that has their child. You think You think you taking care of my child better than me? No, I don't think I'm taking care of your child. I'm here temporarily. I'm here just temporarily taking care of your baby. Your baby's going back home. But a lot of foster parents, which I know where you're coming from, they got something twisted. The primary goal is to reunite the child with their parent. I understand that child might be with you for 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, and you might grow this love for that child, but that child belongs to somebody else.
That's right.
And that somebody else is working on getting their life together. And they might have a few problems or deficiencies that's taking them a little bit longer, but no foster parent has the right, just because you're taking care of somebody's child temporarily, because the primary goal is to reunite the child back to the parent, you don't have a right to talk bad about the parent, to make it seem like the parent is not fit to take care of their own child. Like the situation you just said.
I totally agree with that.
You understand what you're saying?
I totally agree with that. I totally agree with
You
that.
said you have one child, and that lady has 3, 4 kids in the house. That doesn't mean you're not supposed to get your child back. It doesn't mean that. You're still supposed to get your child back.
We're supposed to get my
You know what I'm
child
saying?
back.
So it's really bad for the birth parent and the caseworker to conspire
And they
against
conspire.
the birth, to conspire to get that child completely taken away from the first parent. It's not right.
It's not right.
It's not right for the foster parent and the caseworker to do that. It's not right. You know what I'm saying? So the primary goal is to reunite the children with their parents. And that's what I focus on. I'll let you know I'm not trying to keep your child. But what I do try to do is help that foster parent. You got to take parenting classes. You got to take a drug program, alternative to violence. Do what you have to do to get your kids back. Some birth parents said, wow, I got babysitters now. I'll go see my kids twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and now I get to go out on Friday now. I go partying now because I couldn't do it before. No, take care of your business. Get your children back. Don't play games with this. You have 15 to 22 months to get your children back. Don't prolong the process. Do what you have to do to get your children back. And that's what this is about. The primary goal is to reunite the children with their parents, and the agency should be on the same page along with the foster parent. That's it.
Okay. Now, I just want to say, because I know Angel has been just waiting to jump in, so I just want to preface, because I know where she's going to go with this, as a parent's perspective, that Mr. Lance gave both sides, right? And I just want to make sure that we all heard clearly that what his main point was that although certain children have been removed from their parents for various reasons, whether good or bad, that his primary focus has always been to help to support for that parent to have the child returned to them. So I just want to preface that and lead us into what Angel's going to say.
Okay, well, with all due respect, as a single parent, I would like to give my honor and respect to FPA as an organization, foundation, because as a single parent and as an African American woman, a citizen of the United States, I learned and I understand my rights as a citizen and as a parent. And when it comes down to the foster parents and us parents, first we have to start with the communication. And the ACS and the foster care agencies, first we all need to have a conference meeting, at least twice a month. Regardless of our grudges, I'm not jealous of the foster parents. The behavior that I've seen in my children, I know that there was abuse in the homes. When I came to the agencies, and I came to ACS, and I came to family court, I was refused. I was ignored. My voice was not heard. The actions affected my children. When it came down to the foster care parents, they did not communicate with me. I tried to communicate with them, but they did not make it their business to communicate with me. First, we have to start with working with each other as a team, working on the best interest of the child. Regardless, we can work together. If I make it my business to work with you and I do the honor and my dignity as the parent to do my best, I believe the foster parent should take the same actions, because we should not hold grudges against each other, because the only one that's going to affect is the child. And the best interest of the child is supposed to be reunited with their parents. First